Practice Test 5. Listening Test Part 1. You will hear short conversations. After you hear each conversation, you will be asked a question about what you heard. The answer choices are shown as pictures, A, B, and C. Circle the letter of the correct answer. You will hear each conversation only once. 1,
I can't get my computer to start. What if I just push this square button here?
No, not that one. You can use the round button if you think you need to reset the system, but before you do anything, you really ought to check to see if it's plugged in.
What should the man do first? Two,
Tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised right here in Chicago, but I spent my college years in Boston. After graduating, I bounced around a bit, but I eventually got married and settled down in Dallas, Texas. When it was time to retire, I realized I wanted to go back to where I'd come from. So I bought this little house on the edge of the city and settled down.
where did he live after he stopped working? Three,
It's really not that difficult, you see? You just throw one ball up in the air, and when you catch it with the other hand, you throw another ball up.
I don't think I could ever manage that. Can you do it with 4 balls?
what is she doing? Four,
Will you be here when I get back this evening?
I think so, but you'd better take this just in case. I wouldn't want you to be locked out. You might freeze to death.
what is he handing her? Five,
I hear your company's moved to a new location. How's the new building?
Very clean and bright, not a bit like the old place. But it's strange being up on the 14th floor. Walking up the stairs to get to the 2nd floor in the old place was no problem, but I'll be using the elevator from now on.
I guess you could always get out on the 12th floor and still get in some exercise.
which floor did the man used to work on? Six,
You're right. This is so much faster and easier than the bus. There's never any traffic down here.
It also beats commuting in by car, 'cause you don't have to worry about parking.
where are they? Seven,
How did Rick's appointment with the cardiologist go? Did he tell you?
He got the all clear, thank goodness. Same with the neurologist, no problems there. I'm starting to think he's a hypochondriac, though. Now he's worried about his vision. He thinks he needs glasses, so he's made an appointment to see an optician next week.
The funny thing is, he's probably in better health than we are.
which doctor is Rick planning to see next? Eight,
I'm a little disappointed in the way the Lakers played last night.
What's the matter? They won, didn't they?
Yes, but the game was too close for comfort, and they were behind most of the time. They only pulled ahead in the last few seconds.
Well, the Bulls are always tough competition.
what was the final score of the game? 9.
What happened here?
My two little nephews came for a visit and wound up spending the night. As usual, they tore through the house like a tornado. Now I'm trying to get things back in shape.
Well, let me know if you need help. What a mess.
What happened the previous day? Ten.
We're so glad you've decided to come to our dinner party.
Uh-oh. Is that tonight? I completely forgot. I promised to take the kids to the amusement park.
Well, why don't you bring the kids along? You can always take them to the amusement park another day.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to have to back out. It's not like a dentist appointment, you know. The kids have been looking forward to this for weeks.
What is the man going to do later? Eleven.
I guess there's no way we can get back in time to see the rock concert on TV, is there?
Well, there would have been if you hadn't insisted on having dinner so far out of town. But as it stands now, I'm afraid it's just not in the cards. There's no way we'll be back in time.
What are they going to miss? Twelve.
Okay, and now that we're on the roof, how do we get back down?
I thought there was a ladder around here somewhere. No, I guess not. If only we had a rope. Well, there's only one thing left to do.
You don't mean...
Look, it's the only way. The drain pipe goes all the way to the ground, see? Just hold on tight.
How will they get down from the roof? Thirteen.
What's on our itinerary for tomorrow?
There's a beach barbecue in the afternoon. Oh, and before that, in the morning, we'll all be going on a hike.
What about the slideshow of rare birds?
Oh, that's not until after dinner.
What's happening first tomorrow? Fourteen.
Look, it's going to turn out all blurry if you keep moving around over there.
It's not me. The kids want to go pet the horses.
Just one more shot, and you can all go off and do whatever you want.
What is she doing? Fifteen.
Why are you taking the car? The library's only a few blocks away. You could easily walk it or ride your bike.
But I'm not coming home afterwards. I've got to go to the supermarket and then do some errands downtown.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
How will she go to the library? Sixteen.
Jean told me that a new antique shop has opened up on Main Street. Feel like checking it out with me? She says they've got some things you might really like.
Well, we'd better pick up the clothes from the laundry first. Then maybe we should have lunch so I'm in the mood to do some serious browsing. Then, if we still have time, we could just walk around and do some window shopping. It's a beautiful day for it.
Where will they go right after they eat? Seventeen.
How about skiing instead of a safari for this year's vacation?
Well, you know me. I'd much rather be sunning myself on a beach somewhere. How about we compromise and go somewhere where you could take some water skiing lessons?
What type of vacation appeals to the woman? (18)
I know John said the office is casual, but this is your first interview. Do you think you should risk it?
Maybe you're right. I love wearing a tie with jeans, but I'll probably make a better impression if I go the conservative route and wear a suit and tie instead.
Well, you'd better hurry up and change. You need to leave in 10 minutes if you want to be there on time.
What is he wearing now? (19)
I've heard great things about the new Mexican restaurant. Shall we give it a try?
But it's so expensive. Why don't we go back to the Chinese place for a change?
You're right. It has been a while, and the prices are reasonable. I suppose anything's better than the meal we had at the Italian restaurant last week. I have real doubts about that new chef.
Good. I'll call and make reservations. Is 7 okay?
Where are they going to have dinner? (20)
What an evening. I can't believe we finally got to see Brian act.
He was incredibly good, too. Although I expect it's much easier than acting in a play. Movie actors get to do a scene as many times as necessary until they get it right.
I know. He said there were some scenes he had to do over and over. Anyway, I can't wait for it to come out on DVD so we can watch it again in the comfort of our own home.
Where did the couple see their friend acting? (21)
What kind of clock were you thinking of?
A nice one, medium-sized for the shelf over the fireplace. It's got to be big enough for me to see from the sofa across the room.
Oh, I thought it was an alarm clock you were after. Come this way. The kind you want are over here, just beyond those grandfather clocks.
What kind of clock does he want to buy? (22)
I normally don't like modern art, but I must say this painting is lovely.
Which? The one with the circles and squares, or the one with the curved lines?
Well, I do like the second one you mentioned, but I'm talking about the one with the crisscrossing straight lines. It's like a plaid.
Which painting does she prefer? (23)
Don't forget we've got Mike Johnson coming over at 8.
Oh no! It completely slipped my mind. It's going to be tight, but I should be able to make it. My art class is 90 minutes, so I'll be finished there by 6:30. That gives me a half hour or so to stop by my mother's and see how she's doing. If everything goes as planned, I'll be home by 7:30.
What time does the woman's art class start? (24)
So, I'd like to cash this check if I could, and while I'm at it, do you think you could check my balance?
Certainly, sir.
Where is he? 25.
Don't forget, you promised to help us make signs on Friday afternoon in the auditorium.
My schedule this week is impossible. Let me see. My chess club meets Wednesday, then I've got band practice on Thursday. Friday is science club. Oh, but that's only for 30 minutes this week. I'll just go straight from there to the auditorium.
Great. We could really use your help.
Where will he be on Friday before he goes to make the signs? "26.
So, what did you think of the movie?
Honestly, I was expecting something completely different. Not that I expected to laugh my head off or anything. Mike said he couldn't take his eyes off the screen, but there was so much violence that I had to keep looking away. I think I probably missed half the movie.
How did the man react to the movie? "27.
I really don't feel like having pizza again tonight, Ken.
No problem. I'll make us something to eat. Do you think you could water the flowers while I'm doing it?
Sure, no problem. I'll just finish this email and then I'll get right on it.
What is the woman doing at the moment? "28.
I thought you were planning to be home by now.
Is it 8 o'clock already? I've got to be here at least another hour, and then it'll take me more than an hour to get home.
What's the earliest he will leave the office? "29.
Do you know who sculpted this statue?
I was wondering the same thing myself. I asked the tour guide, but she was as much in the dark as we were. She suggested I buy a guidebook to find out.
She's probably right. I'll call the library and see if they can suggest a good one.
Where do they think they will find information about the statue? "30.
What's the matter? You look like you've been hit by a truck.
I'm exhausted. I was awake all night worrying about things at work. And then at 7:30 this morning, while I was trying to catch the bus, I ran through a puddle and got mud all over me.
Sounds like you should have stayed in bed.
Where was she at 7:30 this morning? That is the end of Part 1. Practice Test 5. Listening Test Part 2. Imagine you are listening to the radio. You are going to hear someone from a radio station interviewing 3 people at the Colorado Dragon Boat Festival. First, you will hear about how the festival is organized. Next, you will hear about the festival's welcome ceremony and main event. Finally, you will hear about an interesting development at the festival. You will hear the interviews in several parts. After each part, you will hear some questions. There are 3 answer choices for each question. You should select from the 3 answer choices the best answer to the question. If you want to, you may take notes in your book as you listen. Now you will hear the beginning of the first interview. For this part, there will not be any actual test questions. The questions that follow this part are examples only.
Hi, this is Terry Smith reporting live from the annual Colorado Dragon Boat Festival on the shores of Sloan Lake in Sloan Lake Park, just 15 minutes from downtown Denver. Here with me today to tell you all about the festivities is Eve Wong, one of the organizers of the festival.
Hi, Terry. I'm honored to be here.
Example 1. Where are they now? The answer is B, on the shores of a lake. Example 2. Who is the reporter interviewing? The answer is A, an organizer of the event. Now we will continue this interview. Remember, after each section of the interview, you will hear some questions. The sections are separated by double lines. You will have 12 seconds to mark your answer to each question. There will be 20 questions. Are there any questions before we begin?
So, Eve, it looks like you've got a really big event here.
We sure do, Terry. Since the festival began in 2001, our Dragon Boat Festival has grown from 15,000 to well over 100,000 visitors. Last year, we set a record of almost 110,000. And if the weather stays nice tomorrow, it looks like we may even break our target of 120,000.
So what's the Dragon Boat Festival all about? Can you give us a little background?
I'd be happy to, Terry. As listeners have probably guessed, the festival's main event is dragon boat racing, which is a Chinese tradition that's more than 2,000 years old. But there's a deeper purpose to the festival than just the boat races. What we've attempted to do is to put together a 2-day ethnic celebration that showcases the rich cultural heritage of Colorado's Asian and Pacific Island communities. Our goal is to create an opportunity for all people, Asian, Latino, Black, and white, to come together to learn about and experience firsthand what these wonderfully diverse Asian cultures have to offer. And the best part is that the festival's free, fun, and family-friendly.
31. About how many people attended the festival last year? (32) When did the very first dragon boat races take place in China? (33) According to Eve, what is the main purpose of the festival?
So when the visitors come, Eve, what are some of the things they can expect to see and do?
Well, up until 2007, we used to say that the festival was like a dragon with 3 heads. In other words, there used to be 3 main things for people to do. The first, of course, was to watch the dragon boat racing, complete with traditional painted dragon boats. The second was to stop by the performing arts stage and take in performances of traditional and contemporary performing arts by local Asian and Pacific Islander groups. That's where you'd go, for instance, to see Japanese taiko drumming or Hawaiian hula dancing. And finally, there was the marketplace, featuring the Taste of Asia food court, as well as more than 100 booths selling paintings, sculptures, silk kimonos, and other exotic products that you'd expect to find in a market in Asia or Polynesia, but not here in Colorado. Then, in 2007, our three-headed dragon suddenly grew a fourth head, the Explore Asia Expo, which adds a neat kind of cultural village element to the festival. Each year, the expo takes a look at distinct Asian Pacific communities. In 2007, for example, we featured Filipino and Mongolian culture. In 2009, the celebration was subtitled Hawaii 5-0, in celebration of Hawaii's 50th anniversary as the 50th state of the United States. Recently, we added another head, the Cultural Unity Stage, featuring performances of hip-hop and other urban dance and music, as well as traditional forms like Kung Fu and Tai Chi. You can see why we've stopped counting heads. The festival just keeps getting bigger and better.
34. What does Eve suggest the festival is currently like? 35. Where would you go if you wanted to hear Japanese taiko drumming? 36. Which is the most recent addition to the festival? 37. Which people were among the communities featured at the Explore Asia Expo in 2007? 38. Where would you go at this year's festival if you wanted something to eat?
'You mentioned that the festival was family-friendly.
Absolutely. That's where Dragonland comes in. We've got a special area set up that offers entertaining hands-on activities that provide yet another opportunity to learn about the different cultures celebrated at the festival. Kids of all ages can choose between having their face painted or making a dragon mask. They can also try their hand at the ancient arts of origami and calligraphy and watch demonstrations of Chinese yo-yo. And, back by popular demand for the 5th year running, is award-winning Richard Nakata performing astounding feats of Japanese street magic. Born in Tokyo, Richard moved to Colorado with his parents when he was a small child. And of course, no Denver festival would be complete without Bongo the Balloon Man turning his colorful balloons into a wide variety of animals, hats, flowers, swords, you name it.
39. According to Eve, which Dragonland activity can children see but not do? 40. Who is Richard Nakata? 41. What is Bongo famous for?
'Well, Eve, that certainly gives a great idea of what to expect. Now let's hear from the coordinator of the Dragon Boat Race part of the festival, Kenny Chang. Kenny, you've got a busy 2 days ahead of you.
I certainly do. In fact, I'll need to be going soon because the welcome ceremony's about to begin.
Tell us about it.
Well, first there's the parade of participants. See over there, by the big tent? The teams are just starting to line up now. You can tell who's who by the huge banners they're carrying overhead with names like the Great Wall Association and Spirit of Cambodia. The team that's out in front, in the position of honor, are the Lao Buddhist Temple of Colorado team, last year's champions. Then comes everyone's favorite part of the morning, the Awakening of the Dragon ceremony. This is a beautiful, time-honored ritual performed by Buddhist monks in their long orange robes. The monks walk from the performing arts tent to the shore of the lake, quietly chanting and singing as they move toward the dragon boats. When they arrive, it's then time for honored guests to carefully paint red dots on the eyes of the painted dragon head on the front of each boat. According to tradition, the ritual is designed to awaken the spirit of the dragon that exists inside each boat. This, in turn, ensures that the athletes will row a strong race. That's why the last part of the ceremony is a dragon dance, where performers bring to life, as it were, a 25-meter-long paper dragon. By the time the dance is over, the dragon is fully awake and the races can begin.
42. Which part of the welcome ceremony is led by Buddhist monks? 43. Who paints red dots on the eyes of the dragon head on each boat? 44. What does each team hold as they march in the opening parade? 45. How does the welcome ceremony end?
'It sounds spectacular. I can't wait to see it. Kenny, I realize you need to get back to the big tent, but before you go, let me ask you just one more thing. How many people are needed for each boat?
Well, let's see. For starters, each team has 9 pairs of rowers, or paddlers, actually, as the boats are similar to big canoes. Then there's another paddler in the rear who steers the boat, and a drummer who sets the pace. Oh, and another person at the very front whose job is to grab a flag from the floating finish line marker. He's got the fun job as he needs to stretch way out over the front of the boat to pull out the flag. Uh-oh, hear that drum? That's the signal that the parade will start in exactly 5 minutes. I really must get going.
46. How many people are needed for each dragon boat team? 47. What does the person at the back of the boat do? 48. According to Kenny, who has the best job?
'Our time's running out too, but let's sneak in one more guest who will talk about yet another head that the dragon has grown recently. Keiko, welcome. What can you tell our listeners about the greening of the dragon?
Well, I can assure you it's not another boating ritual or even a tree planting ceremony, but it is something that the festival organizers are very proud of. The greening of the dragon is simply the 3-year program we began last year to turn the Dragon Boat Festival into a fully Earth-friendly event. In addition to continuing our efforts to get visitors to recycle and vendors to cut down on the amount of non-recyclable waste they generate, our main goal this year is to focus on transportation and reduce the carbon footprint of people coming to the festival. To that end, visitors need to know that we will no longer provide a shuttle bus between the Invesco field and Sloan Lake Park. In fact, parking at the field is totally off limits for festival goers. Instead, we're encouraging people to come by public transportation, or to walk or ride bikes. Oh, look! The parade's beginning!
Well, I guess that's our cue to sign off. Thanks for joining us, Keiko.
My pleasure.
49. What is the greening of the dragon? (50) How do the organizers hope to reduce the festival's carbon footprint from now on? That is the end of the listening test.